Hello, welcome back to the channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings, but today we're going to continue our countdown of our top 100 board games of all time. This is number 40 down to 31. As this is the top 100, you might want to go back and look at the previous installments of this. I know that the 80 to 70s aren't the most attractive numbers in the world, but there's some decent games on there, so it might give you some ideas if you're stuck for your next game. Right, enough of me rambling on about bullshit. Let's crack on with this list. Bollocks! So number 40 on this top 100 list is a game called Puerto Rico. This was at the top of the nasty little website's top 100 games for quite a long time. It seems to have dropped off the list quite a bit, probably because a certain section of people have a problem with some of the content, right? In this game, you will be trying to grow different commodities on your little island fortress, right? You'll be picking one of the roles and you'll be activating that role. You will get a special benefit if you pick the role, and everyone else will get to activate it, but they'll get like a shittier version of that ability, right? You'll be growing indigo, you'll be growing coffee, and then you'll be shipping it off to the external markets, and you'll be bringing in little tiny beads on a ship to send to work on your island, right? One thing about Puerto Rico is that there is not a lot of luck in this game. It does get criticised for being one of them games where the more you play it, the better at it you're going to get. And if you're playing with new players, they're not really going to have much chance to win. But that don't matter. That don't bother us. We don't play Puerto Rico religiously like some nuggets do. So to us, it's a wonderful, wonderful game, and it well deserved to be in the top 50, right? Number 39 on this list is a game by one of our favourite designers of all time. It's Ethnos, and it's designed by the masterful Paolo Mori. In Ethnos, you'll be trying to score points by hiring these different factions to face off against each other. Right? You'll basically be taking a card from the centre of the table, you'll be adding it to your hand, and you'll be playing cards in sets to score points. One of the good things about this game is that there's 12 factions out of the box, so the different permutations, the different combinations of the factions all come together really, really well, and there's just so much replayability in this box. The only thing that we don't like about it is there's not been any expansions for it. There's been like a little fairies promo pack sort of thing that gives you one extra faction, but what we want is a big box expansion for this that adds more stuff, more of these sort of mini games that you get in a box. Right? Ethnos is a wonderfully simple game, like most of Paolo Mori's games, but it is always engaging and it's always close, it's always fun, right? Number 38 on this list is another 4X game, but this time it's set in space, but it's an economic space game. It's Eclipse, right? We're talking about the first edition. We haven't played the second edition, which is a little bit out of our price range. And again, we don't buy games that we already own, right? Like we said, this is a 4X game. It's expand, exploit, exterminate, and defecate. This is more of an economic 4X game, so you'll be more worried about managing your economy to allow you to take actions. On your player board, you'll be managing your research and your income, and the more actions you take, the more money you'll have to pay to keep your galaxy empire in order, right? The first edition came with 3 expansions. There's a ship pack, which just replaces the crappy ships that are in the original, and you've got the Shadows of the Rift expansion and another expansion, something I can't remember what it's called now, but it adds loads and loads of stuff. Right, this is an expansive game. Out of the box, it did say 2.5 hours. There's no chance of you playing this in 2.5 hours if you put the expansions in, and it doesn't rival Twilight Imperium. It's a completely different game, right? So don't listen to those people that say Twilight Imperium versus Eclipse, because it's bullshit. But it's a fantastic 4X space game that we love a lot. Number 37 on this list is 1812, The Invasion of Canada. This game plays best with 5 players, where everybody can take one of the factions. You've got the British, the American Indians, and the Canadians, and then you've got the Americans and the American militia, right, that will be facing off against each other. You'll be playing cards that will allow you to move on water or move your ground troops, and you'll be rolling dice in combat, and it's a very, very simple game, but it is really, really engaging. You'll be trying to take forts off of each other, take objectives, and once you've taken a certain amount of objectives, then you'll win the game, right? Don't play this with any less than 5 players. You do need to have one player controlling each faction, because it creates a sense of chaos, and there's so many unknown variables, like the Native American Indians are an unknown quantity, and it's really fun playing them. And it's also fun playing the British, because you can kick the Americans' asses, right? Just kidding, American friends. So yeah, 1812, The Invasion of Canada, one of Britain's finest hours in military conflict, and I'm going to shut up, right? So the next game on this list is Spartacus, a game of blood and treachery, right? This is based on the very, very popular TV show of the same name, and this game takes place in a series of phases. You'll be trying to buy gladiators and weapons, and then you'll have an intrigue phase where you'll be playing sort of take that cards with some more questionable content. I mean, there's a card called Jupiter's Cock, for instance, and all that, you know, so yeah, all right, don't play with your mum. And then you'll have a face-off at the end called the Primus, where you'll be sending your gladiators out to slice each other's nuts off. This game is highly thematic. It does recreate the ambience of the TV show really, really well. It's got some wonderful content in there. There's a couple of expansions, Serpent and a Wolf, and another one that adds more gladiators, more miniatures, more intrigue cards, more stuff to do, and more shocking content, right? So Spartacus, Game of Blood and Treachery, one of our favourite games of all time. It's a wonderful 6-player game, loads of chaos, loads of bloodshed, and we like that. 35 on this list is a game that a lot of people have played it with think it's dry and boring, right? It's Friedrich. It is not dry and boring. It's one of the greatest sort of war games ever made. It's a 4-player game. You'll be taking the role of one of the warring factions in and around Prussia, and you'll be moving your troops around the board trying to capture objectives that are fortresses on the board. The wonderful thing about this is that the board is divided into different playing card suits, and you'll be playing cards at your hand in battle, but you can only play cards that are the same as the area that you are located in, right? Friedrich is a highly strategic game. It's a brain-burning fun house of a game, yeah? The wonderful thing about this is that Friedrich is considered to be one of these schizophrenic factions where he needs to help and hinder his opponents at the same time in order to win, right? Love Friedrich. There's a sort of a sister game of this called Maria that plays 3, which borrows the same sort of mechanics but bolts on a political face to this. But if you're not interested in the added complexity of Maria, then Friedrich is relatively simple, but it's a game that we keep coming back to again and again and again because there's so much to explore in this game. Number 34 on this list is a game that really shouldn't be on this list because it's a roll and move game, but we can forgive it for that. It's Zara, Legends of a Drift System, right? This is a game that is referred to as a sandbox. We've said this before, we don't think there's such a thing as a sandbox game because you can't go out and do whatever the hell you like, right? But this game comes close. You can take the role of a pirate, you can take the role of a merchant, or you can be one of the space police and bust people for smoking space dope. This is a game that had one of the best expansions that we've seen. It's called Embers of a Forsaken Star, right? Yeah. Which adds so much stuff to the box. We don't have time to talk about it here. Like we said, this is a roll and move game, and there are portions of this game where you'll roll a d20, and if you roll a certain number, you are toast. But we can forgive the game for that because it is so much fun going around the galaxy, trading with different planets, blowing up other players, upgrading your ship and all that sort of stuff. It's just a wonderful, wonderful game. And it's got its own unique sort of feel. Yeah, there's not really anything like Zara Legends of a Drift System out there. My 33 on this list is one of the most simplest racing games that you could ever want to play. It's Iveit Caesar. This is like the chariot racing in Ben-Hur. So you'll be taking your chariot out onto the circus and you'll be playing cards that will move your chariot a certain number of spaces, right? The thing is that there's bottlenecks on the board where you're going to get trapped and trap players behind you, and also you're going to have to visit Caesar and try and lob a coin at his nose, right? We've had Iveit Caesar for years and we always play it regularly. It's so much fun, it's so quick, so simple, so easy. One of the best racing games that we've ever played, and if you can find a copy of the old Ravensburger version, then you'll be guaranteed to have racing fun forever, right? Super duper game. Number 32 on this list is a dice chucking game called Las Vegas. There is the old version of Las Vegas, or say the old version that's just been reprinted. You've got the version that is directly over my shoulder called Las Vegas Royale, right? The difference being is that Las Vegas Royale adds a few mini games and some extra stuff. It's got better component quality. But basically in Las Vegas, what you'll be doing, you'll be rolling dice. You'll be taking all of the dice of a number and you'll be dumping it on a casino that corresponds with that number, right? Once everyone's used up all their dice, then whoever's got the majority on each casino will get the highest load of money. If there's a tie, then the next player gets it. So you've got the opportunity to prevent people from getting the lion's share of the money, right? This is an amazing game, right? It's so simple. Rudiger Dawn came up with this idea, and it's just so simple that I kick myself and think, why didn't I come up with this? The wonderful thing about this game is that it's still in print. You can go out and buy it now. It's about 25 quid, and I guarantee you it's worth every penny. You'll be playing this loads and loads and loads and loads. It's tense, it's exciting, and it is hilarious when you stop your Aunt Mabel from gobbling up those $100,000 notes, right? So number 31 on this list is it's another dexterity game. It's a game called Flick Fleet, right? In this game, you'll be taking these spaceships made out of like acrylic that are cut in a geezer's garage, right? And you'll be flicking them on the table, trying to get them in position so you can fire your lasers by putting a die on top of your ship and flicking it, and that's the amount of damage you do. It's a scenario based game, so one of the expansions comes with some asteroids and different missions that you've got to accomplish, loads and loads of different ships here, and we're just waiting on the latest expansion that was delayed for a really horrible reason, which we're not going to go into here, but thankfully no one was hurt in the making of this game. But yeah, when this expansion comes up, we're going to be dragging this out again and having a few punch-ups in outer space. It's a wonderful homemade dexterity game. These geezers made it themselves. They produce all the stuff themselves. You can go onto their website and order yourself a copy of Flick Fleet. And if you like dexterity games and you're looking for like a sort of a Star Wars X-wingy dexterity game, then Flick Fleet is probably the best one there is, right? So there you go, that's the next installment of our top 100 board games of all time. We're moving into the top 30, right? If you're still with us, then well done you. But remember, if you aren't subscribed to this channel already, do us a favour and do that. Hit the like button, comment, all that crap, and we'll see you in the next video.